Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Mr. Harvey here. Welcome to another lecture on Chapter 2, the Italian and Northern Renaissance. Today we're going to be talking about the one of my favorite topics all year. This is one of my favorite days, is when we talk about the art of the Italian Renaissance. It is absolutely incredible. So let's get into it. All right, got a little music for y'all. All right, I'm really excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, art is a huge theme in this class, really important. And it's a theme that we're going to discuss all the way till the end of the class. So, like we did a little bit before with feminism with women, let's get another color of ink out, pen out, maybe a different sheet of paper. Let's get some kind of create the section in our notes about art because we're going to talk about Italian Renaissance art, Northern Renaissance art, Mannerism, Baroque. We're going to talk about Rococo, Neoclassicism, Post-Impressionism, Impressionism, Cubism. There's so much art that we're going to talk about, and I love art, and it's so exciting. So we're going to start off at the very beginning of our class, Chapter 2, the art of the Italian Renaissance. And ladies and gentlemen, also, art is going to be really important. You will see, ladies and gentlemen, all right, a question, all right, about art, the Italian Renaissance art, on your AP exam. It will show up somewhere. Multiple choice, short answer. It could even show up as a DBQ, LEQ. It will show up somewhere. Art is very important. Okay? Now, in order for us to kind of understand some of the huge breakthroughs in art that we're going to see during the Italian Renaissance, it's important for us to kind of understand what art was like before. Now, art is going to be really important in this class, as you know, because art is a reflection of what's going on in society. Okay, art is a reflection of what's going on politically, culturally, socially, economically. Art represents what is going on during this time. So we're going to see so many themes of the Italian Renaissance in art. Okay, and in order for us to kind of see these changes, these themes, let's discuss what was kind of going on before that. So we're going to talk about some of the medieval art and architecture. All right. One of the cornerstones of medieval art and architecture was the Gothic cathedral. Now, there were two main types of cathedrals, ladies and gentlemen, in kind of medieval times. There was one, it was Romanesque, and that kind of came first, and then there was Gothic, the Gothic cathedral. And I'll kind of talk about the differences between both. All right. But here's an example of a Gothic cathedral. Now, also, another note for you all that I want to make mention of. Okay, when I talk about art, I'm going to be talking about a lot of different things, and there's going to be a lot of detailed notes on the slides. You don't need to write all that down. What you need to write down are the big ideas. Okay, don't have to write everything down. Don't need to memorize every art style, every little detail about every single artist. Big themes, big ideas here. Okay. This is Gothic Cathedral, and we're going to talk about what makes it Gothic and what makes it so unique to medieval times. Okay, the Gothic architectural style began in France. Okay, and it was really defined by some certain characteristics. In Gothic churches, Gothic cathedrals, they had a lot of pointed arches. They had these new kind of devices on the buildings called flying buttresses. These new parts of the building, and we're going to talk about why they're really important. All right, stained glass windows. That's a very common characteristic of a Gothic cathedral. All right, Gothic cathedrals were very fancy, aka elaborate, ornate, very fancy, kind of to showcase, the elegance, the extravagance of the Catholic Church. All right, and very tall, and we're going to talk about why. All right, and very lavish. There's a lot of elegance, and that was kind of just showing the elegance, the power of the church. And we're going to see that theme again in Baroque art a little bit later. All right, and here's a picture of the interior, and we can see some of those pointed arches right here. Lots of very tall, lots of natural light coming in. All right, that was all on purpose. All right, now the flying buttress, ladies and gentlemen, is something that's new that we're going to see in Gothic architecture that did not exist before in Romanesque architecture. Let's go back and kind of look at this picture again. Let's go back. Okay, take a look at this picture of a Gothic cathedral. What is something that y'all notice? Kind of press pause and think about it for a second. All right, unpause. All right, it's really tall, and it's tall on purpose. This was a cathedral that's reaching up towards the heavens. It was tall on purpose to kind of, show a connectedness to God and, heaven above. All right. Now, if you're going to make a building really tall, all right, that's a lot of weight on the foundation. That's a lot of stress on the foundations. Okay. And before Gothic architecture, it was really tough to make a cathedral tall, and that was one of the problems of Romanesque architecture is that they did not have in Romanesque architecture they didn't have the flying buttress, and we'll talk about why that's really important. But in order during Romanesque architecture, without the flying buttress, the only way that they can make a cathedral taller is you had to make it wider, and aka you had to make the walls thicker. Well, that's a lot of stone, and that's a lot of weight, and that it was just you really they kind of had these like really short, wide cathedrals, and it was just really hard for them to distribute the weight equally. It was just really tough. In order to make it taller, you had to make it wider, and that just took a lot of stone, a lot of resources, and a lot of time. All right. Let's take a look at the flying buttress and why that was important. All right. The flying buttress allowed, with Gothic architecture, allowed for architects to build taller buildings. Why? The flying buttress helps distribute the weight more evenly. So you could build these tall buildings, okay, and structures, and you could see what the flying buttress is doing. It's kind of holding this up. It's helping distribute the weight. So you don't have to build a super wide, thick wall, okay, or building. All right, helps distribute the weight more evenly. All right, aka it allows to build taller buildings. All right, that was something that was new, and that was a feature of Gothic architecture. Take a look at Notre Dame, okay, the famous cathedral in Paris. All right, Notre Dame, you can see there's the flying buttresses right there. That's a picture from Havre when I was there. Okay, and there I am in front of it, having a good time. All right, but you can see right here at the back of the cathedral, all those flying buttresses kind of supporting the back. All right, and there's the tall spire reaching up towards God. Really important. Key feature of Gothic medieval architecture. Take a look at some of the sculptures, ladies and gentlemen. What do you notice? And we're going to see a big difference as we discuss Renaissance sculptures. All right, what do you notice? Kind of think about it for a second. Press pause. All right. Does this look like humans? No, okay, not very, realistic. There's a lot of supernatural fantasy going on. These are not freestanding, aka they're typically attached to another building. They can't stand on their own. Okay, we're going to see a big change. Okay, we're going to see a big change. Another key theme, ladies and gentlemen, within cathedrals, medieval cathedrals, is stained glass windows, and there's a reason for this. Okay, a lot of people during this time in medieval times could not read, so how are they going to understand some of the stories of the Bible? Well, they're going to look at pictures, and that will kind of tell the stories. It's a picture book. It's going to kind of tell the stories for them. All right, and there was, this is how people, they'll go into a church, they'll go into worship, and they'll be able to see all the different stories of the Bible, around them with the stained glass windows. Okay, and Notre Dame had and many Catholic Gothic architectural cathedrals are just, they have beautiful stained glass windows that are just telling all these different stories of the Bible. Okay, but there's a reason. The illiteracy of people, really important. Medieval art, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and remember, you don't need to write everything down. Okay, the art that in medieval times was mainly religious. We're going to see a big change. All right, with Renaissance and secularism. There's not going to be a lot of perspective, and I'll talk about why that's important. Okay, perspective is how people see. Right, we see in a three-dimensional plane. Okay, we have 3D sight. All right, they did not put that in medieval art. All right, we'll talk about why. It was two-dimensional. Architecture was very elaborate, ornate, and sculpture was not freestanding. So those are some of the main themes. Okay, we're going to see a big change and a big difference. Okay, and why do we see this change? Well, the Renaissance. Okay, and here are 4 different characteristics of the Renaissance that will really facilitate some of this change. Right, the secularism, the individualism, humanism, the rediscovery of the Greeks and Romans, that desire to try new things, to seek new interests, to try new things. That's going to be a huge theme that we're going to see in within the Renaissance, and obviously we're going to see that extended to their art. Right, we're going to see the Ninja Turtles do that. Right, Leonardo da Vinci, Raphael, Michelangelo, okay, some of our different Ninja Turtles, all right, Donatello. We're gonna see some of our artists try these new things. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see Italy be at the center of Renaissance art. Okay, in the Italian Renaissance, right? Why do we see that? Well, they're wealthy. They're going to be able. Those wealthy merchants are going to hire people like Michelangelo, hire people like Leonardo, and be able to pay for these extravagant sculptures, paintings that are just absolutely incredible. In Italy, we are going to mainly see frescoes. Okay, and I'll talk about why in a little bit. What if does anybody know what a fresco is? Kind of pause, maybe research it, do a Google search. A fresco is where you have plaster on the wall and you're able to paint over that. Okay. In a fresco, we see frescoes in Italy because it's hot. That plaster can dry really, really quickly. We're going to see a difference in the Northern Renaissance where they're going to be mainly using oils. Okay. And that was because it's a little bit colder and a little bit more rainy, and the water won't necessarily mess with the paint so much. Okay, but Italy's going to be mainly painting in frescoes. Okay, let's talk about some of the main characteristics. And here, ladies and gentlemen, I really want you to take brief notes. Listen for the main big ideas. Okay, let's talk about some of the main characteristics of Renaissance art. And for the AP exam, just kind of memorize just a couple big ideas here. Okay, we're not memorizing everything. Here we go. All right. One of the key themes that we're going to see is realism and expressions and individualism. Okay, that's going to be a huge theme. Okay, obviously, this kind of relates to humanism and individualism. We're seeing people as they're more secular, as they're concentrating on humans, on themselves. They're gonna try to be more realistic. Okay, as opposed to more fantasy oriented, more religious oriented. We're seeing people try to focus on more secular themes. Okay, we're also going to see a lot of nudity in the art, and that is because of the Greeks and Romans. That in Greek and Roman art and architecture, a lot of nudity. Okay, and we'll talk about why. It's the idea of balance, the symmetry, the beauty of the human body. We're going to see kind of that theme come back, and that's taken from the Greeks and Romans. So we're going to see nudity in art because the Greeks and Romans did that, and that shows you the humanists being really interested in the Greeks and Romans. Okay, all right. This is a huge one. This is big, ladies and gentlemen. Super important. Perspective. Couple reasons why we're going to see perspective. Okay, number one is that is how humans see humanism. All right, humans we see in with three-dimensional perspective. All right, right now I'm looking out my window and I see a tree. This tree is really small, but it's really small because it's so far away. If I were standing right in front of that tree, it would be a lot bigger. Okay, that's perspective. Okay, and it's how humans perceive the world in front of them. This is an accurate representation about how humans see, and they're going to be putting that into their art. Now, it's really important to understand how they do this. They do this because the Renaissance artists, the Italians, Europe, they're rediscovering Greeks and Romans, they're rediscovering math. This is important. They're putting math into their art. All right, let's take a look. Okay, they are putting math that they are rediscovering from the Greeks and Romans into their art. Euclid, Pythagoras, algebraic concepts, geometry. This is all going into their art because they're rediscovering it. Very important. So we are seeing, ladies and gentlemen, math in the art to make it more realistic, more, centered around humanism, how we see. So perspective. And that perspective is being created because of the math that they're getting. Okay, so fascinating, just incredible. Okay, classicism. Okay, some of the classical poses, the nudity, and classicism really is a Greek and Roman influence. It's secular, right? This is not necessarily. This is about the human body. Okay, classical poses, a nude human body, and it's celebrating the human body. Okay, It's celebrating the balance of the human body, the symmetry of the human body. Now, I'll be saying, wait, what do you mean by the balance and symmetry of the human body? Well, humans, we have very, unique characteristics. We have symmetry and balance in our bodies, right? So, for example, we have two ears. We have an ear on our left, ear on our right. Two eyes, eye on our left, eye on our right, right? Two eyebrows, two, five fingers on each hand. We are symmetrical creatures. We are balanced creatures. And that was a big theme in the Greeks and Romans. And that's going to be a big theme within Renaissance art. And that's, again, focusing on humanism, the human aspect. Okay. What makes us human? What makes us unique? All right. We have in our bodies a lot of symmetry and a lot of balance. Okay. All right. That is humanism. And this is a classical, this is something that is derived from the Greeks and Romans. The Greeks and Romans celebrated, the balance and symmetry of the human body. And they a lot of their art and architecture was, portraying the human body in its organic form, nude. Okay, we're gonna see that come back. Okay, also, all right, a lot of the sculptures we're gonna see are freestanding. Okay, again, due to math, being able to balance this gigantic rock, and we're gonna see some incredible sculptures. I mean, I wish I could take you all on a tour and we can go see Michelangelo's David, and you all would just be completely amazed at it. It's amazing. We're gonna look at some amazing pictures of it. Okay, but freestanding, that again due to math. Okay, all right, symmetry, balance, realistic, more human. That humanism, really important theme. Individualism. Okay, if we were to go, let's go back. Let's go look at let's go look at that stained glass window. Does everybody in here look really different? Do they look truly different? Not necessarily. Okay, individualism wasn't a huge theme within medieval art and architecture. Okay, again, this is going to be an important theme within the Renaissance. Individualism, being interested in the human and the differences in each human figure. Take a look at these two humans right here. Okay, these two people, very different, and showcasing the different individual features of each. The hair, right? The face, right? We can see it. The eyes, okay? The skin color, the skin tone, right? The hair color, all right? Individual differences, individualism, all right? That is a huge theme that we're going to see within the art. You're going to see sculptures that are just like, whoa, I can see that person. Well, it's like I can see their face. Yeah, you're going to be so many different. You're going to see different people in a painting, and they're all different. All right, it's not like they look like really really similar. No, they're going to be all different, and that's again humanism, and realism. That's individualism, showcasing a more realistic world. Okay, really important. All right, again, we're going to see the paintings have math in them, and that is just one of the most incredible things of Renaissance art is the geometry that's in them. Okay. Okay, putting triangles in there, isosceles, equilateral triangles. Okay, the perspective, look at that. We can see the perspective. We probably know these trees are really, really big, but they look so small. Putting the perspective in there, right? Putting math in the paintings because they're rediscovering it and they're interested. Okay. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see brand new techniques in the art. The chiaroscuro, the sfumato, all right? We have shading and softening, but again, trying new things, new techniques, okay? New techniques, new things, all right? So shadowing, softening, trying to use light, trying to use shadow within their art. Really, really, these are brand new things. You all might be like, well, that's nothing new. This is brand new to them. Okay. All right. Let's talk about sculpture. All right. Sculpture, ladies and gentlemen, was freestanding, designed to be seen around, and designed to be balanced, much like the human body. All right. This is a contrast with medieval sculpture that was, done in relief, built around walls, couldn't stand on itself. Okay. And the sculpture during this time, ladies and gentlemen, really glorified the human body. Okay. The human of the human body. What makes us human? All right. Glorified individualism, glorify the characteristics of people. Okay, the sculptures are just going to be absolutely incredible, and we are going to see the Renaissance in the sculpture. We're going to see the secularism, the individualism, the math. We're going to see the individualism. We're going to see all these characteristics of the Renaissance in the sculptures. Okay, and just look at the difference, right? Medieval, not very realistic. Okay, not focused on humanism, the human body, right? Versus Renaissance. All right, we can see the difference. Much more realistic. Okay, nude. All right, celebrating the human body, the balance, the symmetry. All right, and I'll show you some examples. We'll get some specific examples that we can use for the AP exam. All right, here's a couple examples. Right, not necessarily the examples that I want you all to memorize for the AP exam. All right, but look, look at that. The hair, the eyes, the nose. All right, the individualism, almost looks like they put a little bit of like a 5 o'clock shadow for a beard right here, there as well. All right, look at that. But the individual hair strands carved. Okay, and we have a de Medici right here, right? The eyes. Look at the tendons on the neck. Okay, the skin, the hair, individualism, a big part of the sculptures, glorifying the human body, focusing on the individual characteristics because people are interested in humans as opposed to solely on religion, interested in humans, humanism. Okay, all right. And freestanding. Here's a sculpture by Donatello, one of our Ninja Turtles. All right, this is David. Story from the Bible, David and Goliath. Okay, if y'all don't know, he was, remember, David took down the giant Goliath. Okay, but look at that. All right, individualism. Okay, nude, glorifying the human body. Right, and a freestanding sculpture. Okay, it's standing on its own, and you could walk around the sculpture. All right, some of our main themes here. All right, and this is by Donatello. All right, this isn't the David I want you all to memorize, okay? All right, but these are some of the first free form, standing sculptures since Roman times, okay? Again, and we can see the influence of the Greeks and Romans. They are looking at Greek and Roman art and architecture. They are obsessed with it, and we are seeing our humanists put it into their own art and architecture. Okay, here's another sculpture of David. Okay, again, we can see the Renaissance within this. All right, another one, look, freestanding. Okay, architecture, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see lots of classical Greek and Roman forms within Renaissance architecture. Their architecture is going to be very balanced, very simple, and this is going to be a big contrast from the elegance, the extravagance of the Catholic Church within Gothic architecture that was before, all right, Romanesque architecture, and then after we'll see in the Baroque period. Okay, Baroque art comes a little bit after the Renaissance, and we'll see a change. Okay, this Renaissance architecture is going to be very simple. Okay, you're going to see a lot of columns. We're going to see Roman arches, Roman domes. Okay, we're going to see the influence of the Greeks and Romans within their architecture. Trying new things. Okay, very simple, very balanced. Okay, plain, not trying to be super fancy. Those are going to be some of the main themes that we see within the architecture. This is the best example, and this is an architect that you need to know for the AP exam. His name is Brunelleschi, okay? And this is very famous because this is Brunelleschi's dome, okay, in the Cathedral of Florence. Now, you all might be like, whoa, Harv, that's kind of fancy, man. It is, but it isn't, all right? And also, take a look, ladies and gentlemen, at how big this cathedral is. Those are cars below, okay? This is a really big building, a really big cathedral, okay? Enormous. Look at that. Look at the people next to this, okay? Brunelleschi, he was the architect and he designed the dome here, right? Let's talk about him. All right? He was commissioned to build a dome, and why a dome? Well, that's Roman. That's a Roman ideal, okay? And so he is going to try something new. He wants to build the biggest dome of all time, right? And he is going to try something brand new, never been done before, brand new concepts. He's very much a Renaissance man, humanism, okay, trying new things. And he's going to take the influence of the Roman dome and he's going to make it his own. Okay? And he studied the ancient Pantheon in Rome, which had a big dome as well. Okay, and so he's gonna do a couple interesting things here. Okay, you don't necessarily need to write everything down. Okay, let's take a look at his dome. Okay, one of the first things he does is he's gonna use these ribs for support. Okay, to help support the dome so it just doesn't fall off. Okay, another thing that he's gonna do is this dome is actually two domes. There's a dome underneath this to support the dome on top. So it's two domes in one. There's a dome underneath this as well to support this big one. But here, ladies and gentlemen, and here's a picture I took of Brunelleschi's dome and the cathedral when I was in Florence. Okay, you can see how massive it is. This is a picture I took at night, and I was just standing up with my iPhone and just got this picture. Huge. Okay. All right, and here's a picture I took of it when I was watching the sunset. Okay, it stands out in the city, ladies and gentlemen. This picture was taken like 2017. Look at this. This building, okay, was made during Renaissance time, and look how big it is. It stands out. Okay, incredible architecture. All right, incredible. All right, now Brunelleschi was a Renaissance man, a humanist, and he's gonna try something brand new, never been done before, and he's gonna try to make the biggest dome in the world. We already know that he used the ribs, and he built two domes within one. But he also had a secret in how he could build this massive dome, okay, during this time. And remember, this is without cranes. This is without modern engines, modern technology. They're doing this with manpower, okay, horses. All right. So what's the secret? He did not put the bricks, stacking them one on top of the other. He used math. He used geometry. He used Greek and Roman influence, advanced math in order to help distribute the weight more evenly. And he put them at right angles, the bricks at right angles, to help distribute the weight more evenly so he could build the dome bigger. Brand new idea. Okay? New technique. And he took the math, the influence from the Greeks and Romans, and put that into his dome. This is math in action. Okay? This is the Greeks and Romans within Renaissance architecture. Amazing. Okay, incredible. All right. And here are some other famous domes in the world. You have St. Peter's, okay, Basilica. We'll talk about that a little bit later, chapter 3. Here's St. Paul's, and here's our own Washington Capitol. Okay. So pretty incredible. Okay, but the Il Duomo, the Brunelleschi's dome, it came first. Okay. Other prominent Renaissance artists. The main artists that you really need to know, ladies and gentlemen, are the Ninja Turtles. And I'll start talking about some of the major Ninja Turtles in a little bit. But Giotto is considered the father of the Renaissance painting. He started to paint some of these themes, and he was one of the first to kind of put some of these new themes that we're talking about in his art first. Okay, very real, painting a more natural world, focusing on realism, not necessarily fantasy and religion. Okay. Here's one of the main ones that I would know. Really important, okay? Leonardo, the blue Ninja Turtle, all right? Renaissance man, super important. He invented the sfumato, painted the Mona Lisa, which is considered, probably one of the most famous paintings, if the most recognized and famous painting of all time, The Last Supper. And Leonardo da Vinci is really important, ladies and gentlemen, because he embodied Renaissance humanism. He embodied the Renaissance in so many different ways. So let's talk about him and let's take a look at some of his art, okay? So he was considered a Renaissance man, and he typified this kind of idea of what a Renaissance man is. Da Vinci was not just an artist, okay? He had a broad knowledge about so many different things, okay? A deep knowledge in one area, but also a broad knowledge in many different fields. Not only was he an incredible painter, but he was a biologist, an architect, an engineer. He did so many different things, and that really embodied the Renaissance, being really good at many different things, but also having a deep knowledge in a certain area. Okay, and he was also able to, link information and relate it from different disciplines. Okay, using math within his science. All right, using his math within his engineering. Okay, and seeking new knowledge, trying to solve things, trying to advance society. Okay, and it was really this idea of being well-rounded, well-educated, and that was the heart of this Renaissance tradition, the Renaissance man. And Leonardo da Vinci was a Renaissance man, good at so many different things, but also really good at one thing. Okay, and I believe that his forte was actually inventions. He was an inventor. I think he was actually a better inventor than he was a painter, and that's kind of hard to be like, what? The Mona Lisa? That's insane, man. He had some incredible. He was way ahead of his time. Okay, take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen, the Vitruvian Man. Okay, by Da Vinci. What do we see here? Math. Okay, celebrating the balance, the symmetry of the human body. Okay, and we see advanced mathematical concepts, putting the Vitruvian Man in both a circle and the square. Okay, using math within his art. Okay. All right. Take a look at his own self-portrait. Pretty incredible. I try a self-portrait myself, and let's just say it doesn't turn out very well. All right. This is Da Vinci's self-portrait. Pretty incredible. Okay. And right, he was an artist, a sculptor, architect, scientist, engineer, inventor. Just a true Renaissance man. All right. Here we go. Another painting by Da Vinci. All right. Again, using math within his art. Just incredible. Okay. This is from some of his notebooks, some of his notebook paintings. And we're going to take a look at some of his notebook pages. Okay. We have the Mona Lisa, probably the most recognized picture of all time. There's a lot of controversy over the Mona Lisa. For example, did he know her? Was she happy? Was she not happy? What's going on? I went to the Louvre in France. I don't think I put my picture of the Mona Lisa in here, but it was just so crowded. Like everybody went to the Mona Lisa to check it out. Um, but uh, but obviously, just one of the most recognized paintings of all time, and that was Leonardo da Vinci. Okay, and we see math in it. Pretty incredible. All right. Some people argue that the Mona Lisa is actually a painting of Da Vinci in female form. Okay. There's a lot of conspiracy theories around the Mona Lisa and whatnot. But it is just it's pretty incredible painting, and it's pretty incredible that we still have it today in such perfect condition. Okay. Here's another painting of Da Vinci, and this one of the reasons why I put this painting up was number one, it's showcases the fresco. Okay, and you can kind of see the plaster that's kind of going away. This painting is deteriorated a lot, and we also see math and geometry. Okay. All right, and perspective. All right, pretty incredible. Um, here's kind of how it looks today. Um, but there's a lot of deterioration. All right. Part of the deterioration, ladies and gentlemen, is just from the sun, the natural elements, and we can see underneath the plaster. Okay, remember these are frescoes. Okay, because Italy is hot. All right, that plaster, we can see the plaster. All right, underneath this fresco, the deterioration. This is the Last Supper by Da Vinci. Okay, and here are some of the different apostles with Jesus at the Last Supper. Okay. All right. All right. Leonardo da Vinci was not just a painter, but he was also an architect. Okay. Here is some of his architectural notes, paintings. All right. A plan for his city. All right. He was super interested in biology. And again, remember the Renaissance, intellectual history, reason, trying new things, new ideas. The Renaissance, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be super, super, super important and influential for the scientific revolution. The scientific revolution is really going to, um, uh, be caused, and a big cause of the scientific revolution will be um, the Renaissance. Okay, again, look at this. Super interested in anatomy, in biology. Okay, new ideas. All right, a lot of the stuff. This is going to be directly influential to the scientific revolution. Okay, this is Da Vinci, right? Super. He was so interested in these things, and look at these drawings. The tendons, the muscles, incredible. Very influential for the science that we're going to see later. Okay, some of his inventions. Okay, air machines, incredible. New technology, and we're going to see a lot of new technology, industry, agriculture, coming from the Renaissance, be influenced by the ideas of the Renaissance. Okay, flying, that was something that he was obsessed with. Okay, interesting, these flying machines, and I really think that Leonardo da Vinci, man, like if he were around today, if he were to see some of the technology today, he would have been like, oh, I thought of that. Okay, a Renaissance man, just truly, truly, just gifted in so many different areas. Okay, the engineer. Okay, fascinating. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's stop here for right now. Okay, and let's talk about some more of our Ninja Turtles and Renaissance thinkers in the next lecture. Okay, we'll stop here right now.